House of Representatives and all the 36 state houses of assembly.
Hello out there, it is Wednesday night, News Extra Night, and here I am. I can tell you I am glad to be here. Tonight, it is a harvest of stories, each with the usual extra touch. We shall begin from the top as the highest decision-making body in the country approves an ambitious modernization program for the Nigerian Customs Service. Of course, we have updates on road and bridge rehabilitations in Lagos, Minna, and Kaduna. Rape, that abhorred incident, just won't go away. We have another story on it. On the bright side, we have news on efforts to boost food production. The usual update on the national and global COVID-19 update is also here. Plus, other related stories. We hear the Lionel Messi transfer saga in Spain is getting messier. We have details. There is much more for you, but unless you stay with me, you won't get it. After all, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umarbuba, and this is News Extra. You're welcome. We begin with FEC. The Federal Executive Council has ratified President Muhammadu Buhari's anticipatory approval of contract for the Nigeria Customs Service Modernization Project. The public-private partnership project, expected to gulp $3.1 billion, involves complete automation of the service for enhanced revenue generation and economic growth. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, announced this while briefing journalists after the meeting of the Federal Executive Council. Said, however, that the ambitious project will be fully executed at no cost to the federal government. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details and on this and other resolutions of the Council.
With President Muhammadu Buhari presiding, the meeting, 23rd in its series for the year 2020 and 14th to be held virtually in the new normal, considered and approved 5 memoranda from ministries, departments and agencies. The approval for the Nigeria Customs Service was to enable complete automation of its transactions, institutionalizing the use of smart and emerging technologies for enhanced revenue generation, trade facilitation, as well as security. Finance Minister Zainab Ahmed explained that the $3.1 billion project in favor of a private firm has a concessionary period of 20 years.
This is an end-to-end automation of all of Nigerian customs service processes, and is going to bring huge value to the country. This project has the potential to yield up to $176 billion of revenue, and the consortia that are providing these investments are going to be paid over time according to a schedule that is negotiated for their investments, including their profit and cost of funds. So this is the best possible way for Nigeria to be able to roll out very important capital projects using funds from the private sector.
The Council has also given the go-ahead to the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy for the government-owned Galaxy backbone to be fully upgraded and be more aligned to digital transformation in its activities.
Mr. President has directed that we should conduct an audit assessment of all the federal public institutions and their need in order to upgrade their facilities. The federal government has redirected as well that all federal public institutions should always contact Galaxy as their first point of call whenever they have any IT project to be executed. But most importantly, to show to us the commitment of federal government towards promotion of our government digital services.
Aviation Minister Hadi Sirika also secured the Council's approval to upgrade and refurbish the safe tower equipment in Lagos, Kano, Abuja, and Port Harcourt airports at 13.12 billion naira.
This is just to increase the efficiency of the airport and reduce the workload in the control tower, and to automate what was hitherto analog systems to digital. These are things that are out there in the bushes, to which contributes to safety and security of our airspace.
Approval has also been granted for the completion of Gadanzaima Zuru Gamji Road in Kebbi State at 10.85 billion naira.
We did an emergency 7 kilometers out of 62 kilometers. Because it was emergency, we need to come for ratification, which was given, and we now get approval to award the remaining 55 kilometers so that we can complete the road, which was also given.
A memo was presented to assist NDLEA acquire a befitting accommodation for its staff. The memo was deliberated and considered by the council. Council has granted approval for the acquisition of the property, and the consideration for which the property was to be acquired is 1,196 million naira.
Located at Aviation Village, the property, a 3-wing, 2-story building of nearly 160 apartments, will go a long way towards getting officers of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, now scattered across Abuja since relocation from Lagos, to live comfortably in one place and concentrate more in discharging their responsibilities effectively. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the federal government has promised to sustain efforts at making adjustments to new lifestyles and becoming more sensitive to the security underpinnings as experts continue the search for vaccines and possible cure for COVID-19. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this in his remark to the virtual meeting of the ISWAP process in the Kingdom of Jordan. He said Nigeria developed a robust framework led by Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 to coordinate and oversee the country's multi-sectoral intergovernmental efforts at containing the spread and mitigating the impact of the coronavirus pandemic.
The National Humanitarian Coordination Committee, with the responsibility of providing, among others, a national vision for humanitarian actions and settling disputes that may arise from interactions between security services and the humanitarian community. This committee was timely as a stopgap measure in coping with the effects of COVID-19.
President Buhari said the government had also taken measures to tackle the devastation of social and economic dimensions of the pandemic, with a focus on the most vulnerable citizens in the society through provision of palliatives as well as other economic stimulus packages.
With the global downturn in the prices of various international commodities and looming global recession, the challenges are no doubt enormous. However, the government will continue to address these socio-economic challenges associated with the COVID-19 pandemic. Due to the nature of our security challenges, Nigeria has created an environment of trust in an effort to ensure that the population continues to believe in the efforts of government while dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Nigeria would continue to count on the support of the international community, especially members of the Acquittal process, in addressing the danger posed by violent extremism in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The president noted that the government will continue to monitor activities of terrorists online to control radicalization of citizens by terrorist groups and other violent cells following huge traffic online due to COVID-19. And President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed deep concern over the heavy flooding that destroyed farmlands, farm produce, houses, and other personal belongings in parts of Kebbi State. The president describes the incident as a setback to the nation's efforts at boosting local rice production as part of measures to stop food importation. He noted that Kebbi is the focal point of the federal government policy to produce rice locally as part of government's commitment to agricultural revival, which suffered relative neglect in the past. President Buhari noted that the bad news couldn't have come at a worse time for farmers, and other Nigerians are looking forward to a bumper harvest this year in order to reduce the current astronomical rise in the cost of food items in the markets, while sympathizing with the bereaved families and farmers affected by floods. The president promised to work closely with the Kebbi state government to bring relief to the victims. In the meantime, the Kano state government says it is working hard towards ensuring that the state is free of armed robbery, banditry, kidnapping and other forms of criminality. This is contained in the report on the security challenges in Kano state presented to Vice President Yemi Osinbajo by Governor of the state, Abdullahi Ganduje, during a courtesy visit to the presidential villa in Abuja.
I submitted a report to him that it is all well in Kano. We are managing. There is high coordination of the security agencies in Kano. They are working very hard. The only problem we have the Falgore forest, which we are providing some infrastructure for military training in order to avoid the bandits to colonize that particular environment, and we are working very hard on that.
State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports that the governor also comments on his administration's efforts towards boosting the economy and improving education, stressing that the government and the people are making huge contributions in achieving these goals. And we take you to Ghana, where the Speaker of Nigeria's House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, says he is hopeful that Nigeria and Ghana will arrive at mutually acceptable resolutions on the trade disputes that erupted some weeks back. The Speaker, who led a delegation of lawmakers from the House of Representatives, said this when they were received by the Speaker of the Ghanaian Parliament as they arrived Accra, the capital of Ghana, on a legislative diplomatic mission. Gbajabiamila said the two-day visit to Ghana was meant to explore legislative diplomacy towards resolving the issues affecting both countries. Welcoming the Nigerian delegation, the Speaker of the Ghanaian Parliament, Professor Okwaye, who expressed confidence in an amicable resolution, hoped the next 2 days will bring a beautiful reunion to the two nations. The delegation, while the Nigerian High Commission in Ghana, were informed by the leader of the Nigerian Union of Traders in Ghana, Chief Chukwuemeka Naji, that Nigerian traders have their trades registered with appropriate agencies, pay their taxes as at when due, yet have since 2007 been allegedly subjected to harsh treatment by the authorities. He appeals to the Speaker to follow up on the legislative diplomatic initiative in order to ensure that the resolutions arrived at are implemented by the Ghanaian authorities. And we bring you back home. The federal government has initiated policies aimed at supporting economic stability and job retention to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed stated this in his submissions at the second African Ministerial Roundtable on the recovery of travel and tourism. Anthony Forson reports.
Under the auspices of African Tourism Board, the virtual meeting was moderated by the former Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, Taleb Rifai. Other African ministers and officers of tourism who took part in the meeting enumerated the impact of COVID-19 on the tourism sector as it affects their country and measures taken to ameliorate the impact. For Nigeria, the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed explained that Nigeria, like any other country of the world, went for a lockdown, which is being gradually eased.
We unlocked available funds in special accounts to create about 500 billion naira intervention fund. And the government also passed the Finance Act of 2020 in support of the micro, small and medium enterprise, because they are these are the people that are most hit by the pandemic, people who depend on daily takings for their survival. And the government also set up a tax and settlement unit, and we extended deadlines and suspended penalties for filing tax returns. The government also in particular supported strategic industries affected by the pandemic, especially the aviation, the hospitality, and the road transport sectors.
On domestic tourism, the minister noted that the easing of ban on interstate travels, commencement of domestic flights, restoration of consumers' confidence and trust, which is ongoing. He, however, noted that an effective communication strategy to create awareness and guide for the protocol is necessary.
The first thing we did to help the broadcasters was to waive 2 months, fees that they ought to pay to the Broadcasting Commission. But when we found that the pandemic was not, going immediately, we did what we call a debt forgiveness. We forgave every broadcaster 60% of their debts, provided they are able to pay within a limited period, and also slashed the renewal fees by 30%.
The African Tourism Board's primary role is to facilitate, encourage, coordinate, and assist in the development and marketing of sustainable tourism throughout the African continent. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
We will take a short break now. When we return, the rage against rape, a tale of victims and victors, plus heavy rains, a blessing or a curse for farmers. Please stay with us.
What's wrong with you? You just crashed my car with your bungalow. I said, who scratched who? You scratched me. I did not scratch you.
What's wrong with this old man with you that scratch? Uncle, please, I beg, give me your phone.
And I'm going to the police. Who's the police? The director of the DSS is my cousin's husband. The head of service is my sister's fiance.
Apples, please, why the scratch is super dangerous? Please, can we go? Can we go?
Now, that's it.
Find your first with the best data plans in town. Dial *777#. Glow Unlimited.
At Elizade Autoland, we don't just sell quality, we build quality. JAC Motors, assembled in Nigeria by Elizade Autoland. For fleets of JAC Motor brands by members of the public and private sectors. JAC Motors are clearly built with one purpose in mind. They are built to serve. Elizade Autoland, sole distributor of JAC Motors in Nigeria.
We dey catchy feelings, we dey cry.
Amaka,
Life is easy, try. If you do better thing, you go drive, mama.
Leave that house now. Amaka. Stay where you are. You are going nowhere. Amaka!
Blockbuster movies like this, series and much more. Download the Airtel TV app.
Mr. Announcer, you not tell them say this film is still there on top of fire. And
we see the shoot, oh.
Download the Airtel TV app from Apple and Android Play Store. Enjoy up to 1.5 gigabyte free data monthly.
Airtel TV by Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Dame Pauline K. Talon, invites you to the 20th Regular National Council Meeting on Women Affairs, virtual meeting on Zoom, with the theme, Gender-Based Violence, Shadow Pandemic, a Call for Action, with the following sub-themes: Girl-Child Education, Investing in the Future and Gender Equality and Parity, an End to Global Discrimination. The Ministerial and Policy Session will hold tomorrow, Thursday, 3rd September 2020. It's expected to afford stakeholders an opportunity to consider recommendations from the technical session of the council meeting that held on the 12th August 2020. The ministerial session shall further advance strategies and policies aimed at improving the livelihood of women, children, and other vulnerable Nigerians, especially in the post-COVID-19 era. Details of the meeting are as follows. Date, Thursday, 3rd September 2020. Time, 9 a.m. Please call toll-free number to report any case of gender-based violence, rape, or violence against children. Announcer, Mrs. Ifoma Nkiruka Anabobu, Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Women Affairs.
Moments can be ordinary. It's what we make of them that really matter. Make the best of every moment, every day, like super moms do with Indomie. Moments to laugh with Indomie. Moments to laugh with Indomie. Moments to care with Indomie. Moments to share with Indomie. Moments like no other to appreciate.
Super Moms create special family moments with your love. Celebrate these delicious moments with Indomie noodles. Indomie noodles, tasty nutrition, good for you.
You fit to do anything with the number. Everything is in no long thing with 444. No, they scatter your brain with plenty numbers. I beg you, ja, yeah, the number 444. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi máa lọ fọ́, ó jẹ́ sáré lọ 444. Mo ní máa fọ́, máa lọ gọ̀. Control code in your hand. 444, four meta is a metaphor. You can recharge for a time, you can subscribe for the time, Anywhere you dey, whatever you do, you can use the number. Oh, yo,
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back. The Pipeline Products and Marketing Company, PPMC, has announced an increase of the ex-depot price of petrol to 151 naira 56 kobo per litre. This was confirmed in a statement signed by D.O. Abalaka of the PPMC, a subsidiary of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC. The statement informs customers of the new product price adjustment, which takes effect from 2nd September 2020. It will be recalled that following the full deregulation of the petroleum downstream subsector, there is a provision for the establishment of a monthly price ban. The two main candidates in the Edo governorship election are shielding their swords and asking their supporters to do same to ensure a peaceful election on the 19th. This is the affirmation they made before the Oba of Benin, who is bringing them together to forge peace. Ogochukwu Ona has the details.
The two candidates, Godwin Obaseki and Pastor Sage Izeyamu, practically demonstrate the peace pact with an embrace. Before this event, the political environment in Edo State has been unfriendly, creating apparent tension.
We want to thank you for the parallel role you have continued to play.
violence, this election is a family one.
Other stakeholders are also getting on the same page.
I share your concerns, and I assure you, to the extent that I can speak, we will speak to the Edo people and to our supporters and even non-supporters to abide by emergency.
I believe it is in the interest of all of us and the good people of this state to maintain peace before, during, and after the elections.
Completely relieved at what Your Majesty has had to say and the kind of responses that we are getting from the principal actors.
This pact of peace is at the instance of the Benin monarch, who is passionate about seeing a peaceful governorship election in Edo State.
Please, I want to beg you, I want to plead, what I want to hear from both parties. So today, you have visited us, you want to assure me, one way or the other, we work together with pastors together, not different. Because you are working.
The Oba believes with this, peace has come to the political space in the state. In Benin, Ogochkuka Ona, NTA News.
And from Benin, we'll take you to Lagos, where the Lagos state government has expressed its readiness to support the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria FAN towards the reopening of the nation's airspace for international flights on the 5th of September. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu stated this when he received the management of FAN, led by the Managing Director, Captain Rabiu Hamisu Yadudu, at the State Government House, Ikeja. Nosa Osula reports.
Nigeria's international airports have been shut down since the 23rd of March to all but essential international flights as part of the country's efforts to contain the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who commended the efforts of the federal government to contain the spread of the virus, assured the management of FAN of the state government's commitment to creating an enabling environment.
It's been a difficult time. COVID has ravaged all of us in the last 6 months, and I'm sure that your industry has been worst hit. But as a nation, we have been able to make the bed, and we're indeed happy that we're seeing a reduction in the positivity of COVID, and so we're excited that from September the 5th, at least some degree of commercial activity will begin to happen, at 2 of our international airports.
The effort of the federal government in constructing a brand new international terminal through the China Exim Bank loan facility to ensure better service delivery and security and safety is also commendable.
Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria is a service organization statutorily charged to manage all commercial airports in Nigeria and provide service to both passenger and cargo airlines. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
In the meantime, traffic management along designated alternative routes to the partially closed 3rd Mainland Bridge in Lagos has been a seamless experience for motorists who have adapted to this daily routine. Dotun Ogunyemi reports on the progress of work done so far 5 weeks into the rehabilitation.
Since the partial closure of the 3rd Mainland Bridge on the 24th of July, motorists who drive along this bridge are oblivious of the amount of work that have gone on after about 5 weeks, and also the amount of work that is currently going on the bridge.
The 3.5-kilometer stretch of work area on the first phase of the project have undergone drilling, cutting of asphalt, and hydro-demolition using this robot that shoots out 1,400 bars of high-pressure water. The result looks like this, a procedure that saves time, money, and protects the integrity of the bridge as it avoids hitting with jackhammers.
We are not demolishing completely the thickness of the deck. We are leaving 10 centimeters of the deck
as a formwork for the casting of the joint.
At the identified expansion joints, a combination of steel, cement and rubber components are being installed as old joints make way for new ones.
We had already cut about 4, making 5, which we are going to remove within 1 week, another 2. So we are working ahead of time to see that we complete this project before the deadline of 3 months on this lane.
The progress of work so far achieved is now only being slowed down with the coming of the rains, but the ministry says it will deliver the project on time. In Lagos, Dotun Okunyemi, NTA News.
There are high hopes that the damaged Rigachukun Bridge along Kaduna-Zaria Highway will soon be opened to traffic. This follows the commencement of work on the bridge today. Abdullahi Mohammed reports.
The bridge's transition bay is what gave way a couple of days ago. This is now left for the archives. An environmentally friendly method is being deployed to build a new transition base, which experts say will give the bridge a formidable stand.
What was there before was lateritic material. Now we cannot repeat that again because of the weather. If you have to put laterite, you must work within the optimum moisture content to be able to compact the material very well. That we cannot do. That's why we're using boulders. After boulder, we're going to put other aggregates, then laterite, then we'll now fill up the place.
Going under the bridge reveals some things to be concerned about. There are cracks on the bridge, and also the boulders used in refills are also giving way.
That may turn out worrisome, but road engineers dispel it as a usual occurrence.
Yeah, that sounds like they are just superficial cracks. So they are just there. You are bound to see the superficial cracks and any structures.
The traffic was light, but the Federal Road Safety Corps says controlling it in the last 3 days was a handful task.
We make sure that we have our personnel on the road to make sure that extra lanes are not formed.
Whenever there is a problem like this, there used to be a very heavy traffic jam that one will stay in the traffic jam for up to 4 hours before going home.
The Rigachukun Bridge is said to have been built more than 50 years ago. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
And from Kaduna, we'll head to Minna, where the federal government is presently carrying out construction on 11 of its roads across Niger State, with 2 of them being converted to dual carriageways. Stakeholders have, however, called for stringent measures to be put in place to ensure the roads remain durable to stand the test of time. Dauda Mohammed reports on options being proffered by some stakeholders on the heels of the proposed ban on movements of articulated trucks plying Minna-Bidda State Road to also give room for reconstruction.
It is a fact that Niger State has the largest network of federal roads in the country, totaling 2,375 kilometers, due to its strategic position of being a gateway to 4 geopolitical zones and proximity to the federal capital territory, Abuja. Alongside these federal roads are some key state roads that serve motorists whenever there are challenges of security or durability on some of the federal roads.
The 84-kilometer Minna-Bidda road has over the years become an important link road to most travelers. However, recently, heavy-duty articulated trucks have come to depend on it, putting enormous pressure on the road.
This pressure, coupled with the expiration of the road constructed about 20 years ago, made the Niger State government to award a contract for the reconstruction and dualization, prompting the proposed plans to restrict the movement of heavy-duty trucks.
The more we invest, the more these heavy trucks will fly it, destroy it, and they are giving us bad name. As a government, we have resolved to take the bull by the horn.
Articulated truck drivers react.
That's problem now. That's my business to eat. That's my word to eat. If don't stop, how the government want make I do?
If they want to close this road, they should prepare another one for us to follow. This plan, however, is not going down well with those that have come to depend on the movement of the trucks on the road for their sustenance.
If they stop trailers, they have finished us. This is where we eat.
Other stakeholders also have contrary views on the proposed ban.
Trucks passing on the road
will not stop a contractor to do a job. The issue there is contractor manage what is there. So if state could say, don't come on Bida Mina Road because you are disturbing the contractor, it can't be true.
While the condition of the road calls for speedy action, road users are of the view that any decision taken should take into consideration economic and social life of the people. In Mina, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
In another story, a 16-year-old West African secondary school certificate examination candidate in Oshogbo, Ondo, has been forcefully defiled. She, however, escaped death in the bush by her defilers. Tokpa Alabi visited the scene of the crime at Ido-Osun, where the victim is crying out for justice.
The past few weeks, reported cases of rape have been on the increase despite punitive measures put in place by government to stem the tide. It was in the morning of a Saturday when the victim, simply identified as Compassionate, was washing her clothes at the stream near her father's house before the suspect, one Akim Adebayo, defiled her and attempted to kill her in the process.
And after that, he started taking me to a very rock place and put my head and snatched my head on the rock, and I pretend as if I've died. Then she go to where the river was there and go and change his clothes, and I escaped.
Fortunately for the young girl, as soon as the man left, she gained some strength and ran through the bush back to the house. By the time she got to the house, she was already weak. She fell down. But thank God there were people around who saw her and came to her rescue.
But for the spirited efforts of the people in the area, Akim was caught after Compassionate managed to escape and cried for help.
On getting to this place, the people said he saw the girl, and the girl told them that the person is in the bush.
He has been taken, he has been arrested, he's already at the state CID, and the investigation is on.
To Compassionate, who is writing a senior secondary examination, and her mother, all they seek is justice.
I want them to punish that person and help me. Help my parents.
Whoever has done this to my daughter should be punished, and they should look for the rest, because I learned they are 7.
Expectations are high that the law will take its due course on the rapists to serve as deterrent to others. From Ido-Osun, Tokpe Alabi, NTA News.
Orientation Agency and partners have pledged commitment through the establishment of National Coordinating Committee on Sexual and Gender-Based Violence in order to flatten the curve of the prevalence in the country. This was at a stakeholders meeting towards the enforcement of the law against crimes of human rights violation. And Kenneth Nanim has the report.
National Orientation Agency has been at the vanguard of the sensitization and advocacy efforts in the fight against sexual and gender-based violence in the country. The agency brought unique insight on the psyche of youths, the need to strengthen relevant institutions, and combat existing stoic perspectives that have not been helpful. These efforts, however, seem like a stream in a river with huge currents. With the increase in these negative social behaviors, the thinking is that more needs to be done.
This meeting is about those who will take it further, who will not just talk about it, but will do something and have capacity to do something.
It is in the light of this increasing trend that the Nigerian Governors Forum, in June this year, declared a state of emergency on gender-based violence.
We advocate the setting up of Sexual Harassment Act desk officers in the MDAs, that there is a need to include sex education at home and in schools curriculum.
We should start from our homes. Through education, economic and public political empowerment. Justice delayed is justice denied. If survivors of violence do not have prompt response when they experience violence, they would view the system as failing them, and we constantly fail them when we do not respond to their plea.
The contributors at the forum are positive that concerted efforts and proper periodic evaluation of impact through the prospective National Coordinating Committee will yield the desired result.
The National Orientation Agency also believes that if more Nigerians should speak out, take action, as well as carry out advocacies in this regard, someday victims of rape and other sexual violence could get justice and the society will get rid of this monster. Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
And Governor of Zamfara State, Bello Mohammed, has formally received an indigene of the state, Ibrahim, who was recently discharged and acquitted of drug trafficking charges by Saudi Arabian courts. The victim, who had been standing trial since 2017, has now been appointed Senior Special Assistant by the Governor. Sadia Abubakar has the details.
Ibrahim is a Zamfara state-based Islamic scholar arrested by the Saudi anti-narcotics officials in March 2017 when he traveled to the Holy Land through the Kano International Airport to perform Lesser Hajj Umrah. He was accused of importing 1,497 tablets of tramadol into Saudi Arabia, the allegation he consistently denied. After a prolonged trial, he was eventually discharged and acquitted of all the charges by the Saudi courts, but denied exit from the country. This prompted swift intervention of Zamfara State and the federal governments, which paved way for a series of diplomatic talks between Nigeria and the Saudi Arabia that finally led to the exit of the victim to Nigeria. He was warmly received by Governor Bello Mohammed at Government House, Gusau, who later handed him over to members of his family.
I wish to, at this juncture, express warm appreciation to the Saudi Arabian authority and Nigerian embassy in Saudi Arabia for their diplomatic understanding and kindness to us. The official of Nigerian embassy also in Saudi Arabia must also be appreciated for facilitating our effort towards safe release and return of the accused person.
Wives and children of the victim, as well as other family members, could not hide their happiness on his release. In the meantime, Governor Bello Mohammed has approved the appointment of Hafiz Ibrahim as his senior special assistant on science of Quranic recitation. In Gusau, Sadia Abubakar Chino, NTA News.
Sure, a happy moment there from Gusau. More than 2 centuries ago, when Tunganupa community in Nasarawa State found tranquil habitation close to the banks of Peperua, an elongated lake among the biggest in Nigeria, the people continue to connect with the heritage while promoting values of economic livelihood. Now, the people are asking for intervention to preserve the natural phenomenon. And I'm sure you may wonder why. And Hamza Musa Makarfi takes it up from here.
Accessing Tunganupawa from Asakio up Shandam Lafia Road, notwithstanding the challenges, is a journey to be enjoyed because an adventure away from home opens mind. Tracing ancestral history and migration to Nupe people of Niger State, traditional ruler Ahmadu Indaj Brin says Tunganupawa is a big family whose quest for prosperity brought the community to present landmark. He also recalls how ancestors traversed the lake to power plunge areas as incoming or exit route. Exploring more of the vast lake, several kilometers in length, reveal its peaceful nature.
We have been cruising on this water surface, and yet we have not gotten to the end.
I was told hippopotamus and manatees, major feature of the lake, cannot be found, says Idris Abdullahi, in control of the boat. The animals have been diminished by climate change and human activities. In addition, overfishing is also taking its toll in the lake. In view of the challenges, community members appeal for involvement of stakeholders in conserving the lake and its rich resources.
Normally, if you want to develop an area, you first of all approach the community. Though every land, every natural gift belongs to the state. And, to carry people around for sustainable development, you have to give recognition to the locals. They own the place.
Peparua Lake, a long-standing heritage to Tunganupa community, waiting patiently for development.
Well, back in Lafia, the community has met some of the key requirements for the development of Peparua Lake as a tourist site. They have the historical factors, they have the beautiful scenery, but what of course is indispensable if this drive is to be achieved is to provide infrastructure, roads and other key amenities that will attract people. I tell you, right on the streets of Lafia here, not many people are aware they have
this natural phenomenon right on their doorstep. From Lafia, Hamza Musa Magarpi, NTA News.
Sure, Peparua is a beautiful place to be preserved. Now let's talk agriculture. Maize farmers in Kano State who benefited from the federal government's loan revolving scheme for this year's rain-fed agriculture have started counting their blessings even before harvest. This success story is attributed to the farmer-friendly policies of the present administration for food production for local consumption and exports. Yahana Hassan Barrow reports that the 3,000 beneficiaries are ambitious that Kano State alone has the capacity of feeding the nation and some neighboring African countries.
No doubt, the high-quality seeds and other agricultural inputs given to farmers, as well as the training they receive from extension workers on better farming practices is yielding positive results, as maize farmers in Kano are optimistic of bumper harvest this season.
For maize farmers like Aisha Yahaya and Samaila Gundusi, who were among the beneficiaries of the federal government loan revolving scheme, to them, this farming season come with a lot of blessings.
Look at my farm. Everything has changed. In fact, this loan has assisted us. I know my output will increase.
The input has made me to cultivate large percentage of my farm. We thank the federal government for this support.
The federal government intervention also helped in cultivating sizable percentage of arable land with the hope to produce more. The farm-to-farm on-the-spot assessment embarked upon by the leadership of Maize Producers Association in Kano State is to ensure beneficiaries utilize the loan received judiciously and embrace good farming practices.
Before now, probably the productivity is very low. Probably, let's say, for example, less than a ton per hectare. But with the inputs given in good time and with the improvement of the facilities in terms of the production, we can see the farm has grown. Most likely she will get double, if not triple.
The beneficiaries received farm inputs worth 130,000 naira each and are expected to repay the loan after harvest. In Kano, Yahana Sahasambaro, NTA News.
Thank you, Yahana. Now, when you hear the name Benue, what comes to your mind? Many will say yams. Some will say fruits or food. To a large extent, that is correct. After all, Benue is the food basket of the nation. It is in a bid to be true to this that the state government wants to enhance the agricultural sector by establishing a food market. The state governor, Samuel Otom, disclosed this when he met with the National President Association of Yam Farmers, Processors and Marketers, Professor Simon Twange. In Makudi, Charles Abba reports.
Benue State is blessed with vast arable farmland suitable for the production of various crops, which has earned the state the appellation food basket of the nation. Governor Samuel Otom, who acknowledged the comparative advantage Benue has in the agricultural sector, reaffirmed that his administration's commitment in improving farming, especially the yam value chain activities, can turn around the economy. He disclosed that the state government is to procure a 500-hectare land to construct food market, which will incorporate other agri-related businesses.
We believe that when we consummate the arrangement, the Yam Association will definitely have a sizable number of lands there to be able to carry out their activities that will be coordinated. So,
National President, Association of Yam Farmers, Processors and Marketers, Professor Simon Itwange, indicated that from 2021, Benue will begin to produce 6 metric tons of yam for marketing. He added that with the result of current research embarked on, there will be high ratio propagation of seed yam production, 2 harvest seasons of yam through irrigation as against the usual 1 season, and other young confectionery products for youth and women empowerment.
We are thinking that as the #1 yam producer in Nigeria, we should be able to establish our own aeroponics so that we'll be able to produce our seed yams, 1-node vine cuttings for our farmers.
He urged the state government to resuscitate the 60 metric tons capacity yam flour production industry in the state to augment the yam value chain business. In Makudi, Charles Abba, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari says his administration noted the sudden increase in food prices compounded by the global pandemic. Onenge Fine-Faith's reports on efforts of the Buhari administration to tackle the situation.
President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed the concern of his administration about the sudden spiral of food prices at a time when the economy is already mired in a slowdown occasioned by global coronavirus situation. The president assures Nigerians that the situation is transient. His administration has already begun looking and putting into place measures to ameliorate the situation. The effect has been deeply felt in the delays encountered in procurement of raw materials for local production of fertilizer, damaging standing crops before harvest, and the speculative activities by a number of rice processors who are ready to pay for paddy at any price to keep their mills running non-stop. But of all these problems, the most worrisome are the activities of corrupt middlemen, with many of them discovered to be foreigners and other food traders who serve as the link between farmers and consumers, found to be systematically creating an artificial scarcity so that they can sell at higher prices. In dealing with these problems, the administration has, in line with its ease of doing business mantra, avoided imposing stockholding restrictions in order not to discourage investment in modern warehousing and cold storage. The president has just approved the release of food items from the strategic reserves, including 30,000 tons of maize to animal feeds producers to ease the high cost of poultry production. Additionally, key government agencies and policymakers with the responsibility and visibility on market activities remain focused on removing structural impediments to the production and free movement of agricultural products. President Buhari once again assures Nigerians of his dedication to bringing this issue to a swift end. Nigerians have already suffered grave economic losses owing to the coronavirus pandemic, and the Buhari administration will do all in its power to ensure that our people do not continue to suffer additionally from high food prices. In Abuja, Onengiye Fine-Face, NTA News.
Beneficiaries of the World Bank Assisted State Employment and Expenditure for Results Project C4 in Delta State are already testifying to the positive impact of the intervention agency and the Delta State government from the project cited in their communities. They expressed their gratitude during the inspection tour of facilities by the World Bank and European Union in Delta State. Tessie Coker reports.
The State Employment and Expenditure for Results Project C4 which came on stream 7 years ago as an interventionist program by the World Bank and the European Union, has surpassed its target in youth employment through small public works and access to socio-economic services, with 9,515 young people benefiting. As the team takes a tour to some projects in Delta Central, Ogo Technical School in Ughelli North was the first port of call, with an equipped laboratory by C4 for the use of the students. Graduates of the school are already plying their trade with the starter packs given to them by C4. The team also visited Unenure Secondary School, where an examination hall and a science laboratory provided is already paying off dividend to the students.
Since they gave me the tools for me to work, I've using them to work and they have benefited me.
With this industrial training here, this equipment here, we have learned a lot, and this have helped us through all we are doing.
The hall that was given to us can take lots of people. They are all well comfortably seated.
At Oviri Olomu, the community hall and an open market is another feat of the C4 project. The hall got a facelift as well as providing portable water for the Gboko people.
C4 came and they gave us the money to complete the hall. So the community were so happy.
Okurekpo in Ethio East local government area of Delta State got a pig and a poultry farms. Sapele Technical College completely overhauled as every department felt the change. Ubiye Council area benefited as well with the construction of interlocking road in Akuzo Street.
Constraints around.
The exercise ended with a press briefing in Asaba.
The bank's initiative to come in to Delta State with a program, if an expression of interest and then an MOU wasn't at the end of the day signed, we wouldn't have seen this program. So we must thank the governor.
The project is working assiduously towards concluding and completing all outstanding commitments to ensure a successful and seamless closure.
The people are looking forward to a more robust collaborative efforts from agencies in the future. In Asaba, Tessie Koka, NTA News.
Do you know the one that is referred to as the correct bodyguard for your pikin in the local health parlors? How is it faring in COVID-19? Hand sanitizers, what about them? Your health and safety is our priority. So get ready for the doses of interesting health-related stories ahead when we return from this break we are about to take. Please stay tuned.
Rest of the next life. Rest of the life of the next life. Una. Arrange your voice, podcast.
Hola. Shift. Mind yourself. Social distancing, please.
We observe social distance in this house. Maintain your social distance.
Do what you've never done before. Find your first with the best data deals in town. Dial *777#. Glow Unlimited.
Taste is key and that's how we communicate. Best nourishment in every school. Mama, taste it, mama. Share the love. We all together. I love my mama. Mama, taste it. Nourishing. Scoop it. Mama.
Mama, best scoop of tasty nourishment.
Refresh your confidence with the liquid-filled Center Fresh gum. Center Fresh. Trust the freshness. Ready to be one of our 2005 daily winners? Win cash prizes and airtime daily with Center Fresh and fruits. Check the back, text the code to 38353. 10,000 Naira and 5,000 Naira daily cash prizes to be won, as well as 100 Naira daily airtime. Campaign runs from the 1st of September till the 31st of October 2020. Terms and conditions apply.
Thanks for staying tuned to News Extra. Schools across Europe reopen as COVID cases increase. Just as India reports about 80,000 coronavirus cases in one day. Joyce Ometu has a global update on the pandemic.
Despite a continuous decline in daily coronavirus infections in Nigeria, there has been a slight uptick in the number of deaths. The country's Center for Disease Control said Nigeria recorded 10 new deaths from COVID-19 in one day, bringing the number of fatalities in the country to 1,023. So far, 54,247 cases have been confirmed, out of which 42,010 patients have recovered. Africa has 1,265,750 cases, resulting in 30,127 deaths. Figures compiled by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. Nigeria time show that the world has registered 26,007,449 cases, while more than 18 million have recovered. 863,101 deaths have been recorded. In Thailand, that country's prime minister congratulated the nation, having achieved 100 days without a confirmed locally transmitted case of coronavirus. Meanwhile, India has reported 78,357 new coronavirus cases in one day, taking its total to more than 3.7 million infections as the government eases COVID-19 restrictions nationwide. In the meantime, the United States has indicated that it will not participate in international coalition efforts led by the World Health Organization to find and distribute a vaccine for COVID-19. And reports from Europe say schools have cautiously reopened amid the rise in new coronavirus cases on the continent. The president of Madrid, the Spanish area hardest hit by the coronavirus, however, said necessary steps are being taken to make schools very safe for the children. And that's a global update on COVID-19. I am Joyce Ometu.
In Nigeria today, hand sanitizers are coveted items, which became more sought after when the country began to record cases of coronavirus. There are, however, indications of proliferation of substandard hand sanitizers sold in the markets. Hakimet Aliyu in this special report examines this development.
Absence of soap and water for proper hand washing. Hand sanitizer is the next option advised by medical experts as a way of staying safe, protecting oneself from coronavirus, and significantly reducing infections from other viruses and microbacteria. This no doubt created huge demand for hand sanitizers, resulting to scarcity of the product. Shortly after, different sizes and brands flooded major markets and stores, with or without any certification, raising questions about standards.
There are some fake sanitizers and then they're the original. One way we sell safe. With the buy don't we get NABDAC number. And some people they are sell as don't want to not get NABDAC. As in don't want the people the doer.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 recently made observations on the proliferation of substandard hand sanitizers in the market, stating that 63% of the products sold in Abuja market have no NABDAC registration. However, research shows that many of the products in circulation could clinically pass for hand sanitizer, owing to the content with high volume of alcohol.
In the case of hand sanitizers, there are standards. And you know, the composition of hand sanitizers are alcohol, ethanol, propanol. These are the composition, what makes the hand sanitizers. And by standard, it has to be between 60 to 90% of that composition.
The Presidential Task Force are putting measures that will ensure that Nigerians get the right quality of essential product. In this particular case, the hand sanitizer. All hand sanitizers that are in the market are to be registered by NABDAC.
Nevertheless, consciousness to standards remains key as it is hazardous to compromise safety of one's health. While Nigeria and the world continues the fight against coronavirus, experts maintain that strict adherence to COVID-19 protocols, including the use of certified hand sanitizers, is crucial to overcoming the pandemic. In Abuja, Hakimat Aliu, NTA News.
Since COVID-19 stepped in and practically took over the world, so many things have suffered. No, everything has suffered. And now the World Health Organization is warning that the virus is threatening to reverse global progress in the immunization of children under 5 years if certain measures are not taken. Uche Ugochukwu in this report examines how this is playing out in Nigeria with special reference to Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory.
The WHO estimates 2 to 3 million deaths are prevented annually through immunization. But Nigeria is set to account for 30% of global unimmunized children aged 0 to 5 years, despite concerted efforts by stakeholders to reverse the trend. The coronavirus pandemic has made the situation more precarious globally, and the Health Organization fears a decline in successes achieved in the past years. In Abuja, however, vaccination centers are busy. Mothers like Rosemary and Joy understand vaccines are key to protecting their children against the 5 childhood killer diseases.
Whenever my appointment reaches, I come for it. I don't miss anyone.
If I miss the immunization schedule, it will affect my child in one way or the other. Initially, when the lockdown started, there was a decline. But right now, the number has actually increased.
Nigeria hopes to keep making progress in its efforts at universal immunization coverage, despite COVID-19.
So as at the last time we checked our data, we've now started seeing that primary healthcare services, especially routine immunization, is going back to the levels they used to be before the COVID-19 pandemic.
The government is trying hard to improve the coverage so that make sure that the outreach services are, functional, the facilities are functional. From UNICEF side, we ensure the vaccine procurement and its shipment inside the country, and the country is having all the vaccine. There is no vaccine shortage, and the supply chain is uninterrupted.
Babies Alaric and Mitchell are expected to be fully immunized by the time they are 12 to 23 months, as captured in the country's immunization schedule. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
Still talking health, residents of Lagos State will begin to have better access to qualitative and effective emergency healthcare service delivery as the Minister of State for Health, Senator Adeleke Mamora, inaugurates General Outpatient Clinic, Accident and Emergencies Building Complex at the Federal Medical Center, Ebutemeta, Lagos. Hingino John Adams reports.
The 2-story building is a state-of-the-art medical facility. The strategically located General Outpatient Clinic, Accident and Emergency Building Complex is equipped with sophisticated and up-to-date medical equipment that can measure up to international standard. The clinical services such as registration, consultation, prescription, patient's note, and even payment system are all automated. The Minister of State for Health commended the hospital management for putting the building together in a short period in spite of the ravaging COVID-19 pandemic.
We continue to tell our people that as individuals, the primary responsibility for your health lies with you. So it's in your own interest to protect your health, because that is the greatest asset available to you.
The chairman, Board of Management, Federal Medical Center, Ebutemeta, Ishola Balogun, who is at the forefront of digital revolution in the health sector, assured residents that the facility will reduce mortality rate in the state.
The equipment in that, infrastructure is one of the state art of equipment. The first ever, I would say, in Nigeria, even in Africa. So I will say that we have the best equipment here, and I'm sure, inshallah, it will be to the benefit of all Nigerians.
The hospital management commended President Muhammadu Buhari for his support and urged Nigerians to take ownership of the facility. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
As government and health workers gradually flatten the coronavirus curve, it is heartwarming to know that other health demands of Nigerians are not altogether abandoned. We see this yet in Adamawa State, where medical experts at the Federal Medical Center Yola have again recorded a milestone. They have successfully separated conjoined twins for the third consecutive time. Let us hear more from Simon Aisha, who takes up the success story from here.
The journey of 1,000 miles is often said to begin with a step. And so it is with the story of Grace and Messi, who after 23 days of their birth at Nembe General Hospital in Bayelsa State were brought to the Federal Medical Center Yola on 4th January 2020 as conjoined twins to begin the journey of their survival. Joined at the lower part of the chest, sharing one liver but with different intestine, Grace and Messi went through 3 hours of specialized medical surgery for them to be separated and live an independent life.
Their separation did not only bring normalcy in the lives of Grace and Messi, but also excite the parents, as they say.
I'm happy for their life. They are strong and healthy. Thank God for everything.
Thank God for the successful operation. This recent remarkable achievement of the hospital followed its previous successes in 2013 and the separation of Mariam and Fatima in 2018, who were born through cesarean section in Maiduguri of Borno State and referred to the Federal Medical Center Yola for their separation.
This surgery is not just the efforts of the surgeon. It's a teamwork, and we took like 2 weeks to be meeting together. We did rehearsals, and I'm happy to report that a lot of improvement even on our previous operations, because we are able to reduce the time, because almost all members are familiar.
Secretary of the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, on the occasion marking the discharge of Grace and Messi, commended the staff and management of Federal Medical Center Yola for achieving such feat in the medical field.
My prayer for them is that the grace of God will continue to be sufficient for them all the days of their lives, and His mercies would continue to envelop them.
This success story of Grace and Messi would not have come to the fore without the help of the Nigerian Air Force, who too, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, conveyed the conjoined twins from Bayelsa State to Yola and subsequently flown them back after their discharge as part of its social corporate responsibility to the country. In Yola, Simon Asher, NTA News.
Anything tackled at the primary level is bound to end there and not escalate into secondary or tertiary levels. This assertion applies to healthcare. Experts say taking care of small issues keep big issues at bay. So the new initiative towards providing reliable and adequate power supply for primary healthcare centers in rural communities across the country is gradually being implemented under the Power Sector Reform Program. Joshua Ojuto takes a look at this power for health innovation of the federal government that is expected to tackle challenges of primary healthcare delivery.
Being afar from the city center deprives it in the distribution of the basics of life, but receives the brunt in public health emergencies. This is the sad tale of the nation's primary healthcare centers. Electricity, central in the management of these healthcare facilities, is a luxury. The absence of national grid in the hinterland extends the pains of these healthcare centers.
Most of the area at night, they are normally dark, and we have to take deliveries sometimes with a candlestick.
So, federal government goes for renewable energy, a special project, Power for Health. Karu Primary Healthcare Center in the outskirts of Abuja is just one out of many beneficiaries of this initiative to cover 400 healthcare facilities.
With 58 kilowatt hour battery pack will totally eradicate darkness in this facility and in other facilities that will be spread across the country in a short while.
Rural Electrification Agency is a driver of the project, supported by development partners.
We've worked closely as well with the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency so that we're very careful in taking power to national primary healthcare centers that actually have existing facilities and are rendering services to the populace of those communities. So the intention is that those mini grids that would be put out in the national primary healthcare centers would serve and add as to the Nigerian electrification program.
COVID-19 imposes more stress for an already overstretched sector. So the Power for Health project is to be extended to 100 isolation centers. In Abuja, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Time for another break. Please stay.
Since 1971, Nigeria's foremost human capital development institution, the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, has been at the forefront of equipping Nigerians with skills for national growth. Today's ITF has repositioned and refocused its programs, forging new partnerships locally and internationally to effectively deliver on its mandate. With 37 area offices and 5 industrial skills training centers across the country, ITF is pushing to reduce unemployment by providing relevant technical and vocational skills for employability and entrepreneurship in diverse trades and crafts. Whether you're a public or private organization seeking to improve the skills of your personnel or an individual looking to acquire skills that will increase your chances of employment or even to help start your own business, today's ITF has a program for you. Speak to us today. Contact our area offices nationwide or visit our website www.itf.gov.ng. ITF, developing the nation's human resource.
Great to have you back. The federal government is repositioning the mining sector for greater profitability. Key players in the mining industry are not losing sight of this move. Those of them in Plateau State say to leverage on the gains so far, there is the need to further enhance investments and greater returns by way of more incentives to operators. Indeyang and Yabayang reports that operators are already foreseeing prospects in the sector in the light of current policies of government.
James Gang and Simi Peter are undergraduates who have been engaged in artisanal mining while growing up, a venture they say has impacted their lives greatly. James and Simi are not alone in this business, as many young Nigerians are exploring ways to make their lives better, which they said can be achieved in the mining industry.
We want more machineries and more funds, that if possible, if government give us these things, this mining sector is going to be more beneficial to us and even to government.
This work, you can do it by yourself and generate money.
These youths who use their own way of gravel pumping are sustaining the history of Jos Plateau as a mining hub of tin, producing about 90% of tin in Nigeria yearly. Beyond tin, Plateau State is endowed with a variety of solid minerals, with 5 in commercial quantity.
The mineral sector was a major driver of the nation's economy, contributing about 5% of the GDP. But with dwindling fortunes, the sector now contributes less than 1%.
Even with this, Plateau State is still an important base in tin mining. Industry key players are advocating greater involvement in exploration.
Let there be a recognition for the artisanal miners. Have a register, record them.
If you want to be in, get mining engineers. Some of them have retired, some of them are working. If you want to key in, let government give these people the equipment.
What we're advocating now is that our people should try and get the license
And there are experts. There are many geologists around that can assist them.
One major issue that comes to fore as mining is encouraged for wealth creation is the need to tackle environmental problems that may arise. This is a topic for another day. In Jos, Indenyan, and the Abuja, NTA News.
Anti-bid and security, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafiadole has eliminated some Islamic State of West Africa province ISWAP terrorists and destroyed compounds housing them at Kaza along the Gulumbagana, Kumsha axis of Borno State. A statement by the Coordinator Defense Media Operations, Major General John Anenche, the airstrike was executed on 1st of September 2020, following credible human intelligence report as well as confirmatory surveillance and reconnaissance missions showing a resurgence of terrorist activities in the settlement. The identified locations within the settlement were therefore attacked by fighter jets and helicopter gunships dispatched by the Air Task Force, resulting in the destruction of the structures as the neutralization of some of the ISWAP fighters. And we'll take you to Benue now. As the training arm of the legislature in Nigeria, the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies says it is ever ready to reach out to all legislative arms of government and democratic institutions in the area of capacity building for the overall interest of good governance. Director General of the Institute, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, gave this assurance when the chairman and members of the Benue State House of Assembly Service Commission visited the Institute for collaborations on capacity building programs. John Yaku has that.
Visit is to seek collaboration with the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies to advance the capacity of personnel and top management of the Commission towards optimum service delivery of the State Assembly. This is also to develop a training program for the newly inaugurated Commission to enable it hit the ground running.
It is our fervent belief that cooperation between our Commission and the Institute will greatly enhance the legislative output of our staff.
Director General of the Institute, Professor Abubakar Suleiman, says, as a pillar of legislature and democracy, it does not limit its services to the National Assembly, but for all legislative houses in Nigeria and the West African sub-region. He noted that investment in human capacity for optimum performance is the ultimate.
The quality of bills, the quality of law, the dynamics of oversight, the quality of representation is informed by the quality of the support staff. If you don't get the right people to work with them, we shouldn't expect the right policies of bills or law emanating from the House.
The Institute assures that it is aware of the COVID-19 protocol and will not do anything to compromise it in its training programs. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
And let's talk sports. The race for the signature of Lionel Messi, one of the world's best footballers, continues to generate suspense, anxiety and tension. Messi is said to have agreed a contract deal with the City Football Group, while La Liga insists on not deregistering the four-time UEFA Champions League winner. In this special report, Samara Ibue gives us an update on the situation.
Making his debut for Barcelona on the 16th of October 2004, Lionel Messi has 731 appearances, 634 goals,